and they could push the make or break point to the next game of whether or not somebody would have to play Fiora, he should be able to do it. It's just a question of whether KT wants to run a squishier top lane champion like Fiora and play into that strategy.
They had a bit of a struggle with it in game one, but we will see. Don't think it's going to be the Blitzcrank pick for KT. Be fun to see. But I think Darius Shen is quite reasonable, and that is what they're going to lock in. So, KOO Tigers weren't able to win against that Darius in game one with the Fiora. Will they chance it here in game four?
You know, one thing about KT, if we look back to how they were doing in the group stage, one thing that they did execute very successfully was many globals.
Yes.
In their second game against Origin. So they may try to go back to that strategy where they play the Shen themselves and then try and use that advantage in the late game.
Very true. There's the Fiora hovered over by the KOO Tigers right now.
I believe that team composition had an Azir in it, which is banned, but they can still get something similar if Nagne is willing to play Victor in the mid lane. I think Victor would actually be a spectacular takeaway for Nagne right now. But
Nagne's never been the best Victor player.
Yeah.
That's one of the issues. There could be a Twisted Fate or something like that coming in too, depending on what KOO wants to blind pick here. They may go ahead and just take away the Ashe.
Wow, you know, when we've seen that in the past between these two teams, Prey just switches right over to Kog'Maw, right over to some other hyper carry.
We did say KT was going to have to make a pretty big change in pick ban strategy because it felt like they came on the short side of team comps all three games.
Yeah.
I actually agree here with not taking the Ashe when the Alistar is already on the table and he can just body block that, use the Unbreakable Will. It does make the picks a lot less attractive, and instead they've got a lot of peel now. The Gragas and Shen combination to go with the Jinx.
Yeah, I think the Jinx, I would have wanted to see the Jinx right here. Please do the Jinx.
Oh, Jinx, there it is. And Gragas for score as well.
Yeah, specifically because they have a very strong tank line and they have a lot of CC for when Smeb tries to initiate through the flank. I want to see the resetting potential. There's a reason Jinx has been such a highly contested pick throughout Worlds. It's a very team fight focused meta right now. And a lot of squishy targets that can get, that are very susceptible to Jinx AoE rockets. I like the pick.
You know, we could see something like, well, I guess not Kalista Kennen because Alistar's already been taken by KOO, but we could see Ashe, and there's that Victor. Wow, are the KOO Tigers going to try to win one with Draven? I doubt it. Prey.
I still have nightmares of the Praven, and not in the way that it strikes fear into my heart. But
this is the way that it should strike fear into the KOO fans' hearts. Caitlyn seems reasonable, though.
Yeah, may go into this matchup again. We've seen it play out once already.
It's an enormous amount of poke between Ace in the hole and a long-range Victor laser.
Good siege.
Really take a big chunk out of Jinx.
KOO Tigers have set up an excellent pick and 4-1 split comp again, and that's really what they've been doing very well so far this series. Just take the 4-1 split. Smeb has just consistently delivered on this Fiora, and if you're not going to take it away with him, he's just going to grab it and continue to run it until someone figures out how to stop him.
Yeah, this game I will say there are better answers on the side of KT. Darius has shown that he can be an answer to Fiora in the split push game. Also, there's not as much to guard against an initiation when KOO tries to set up a 4-man siege. No Event Horizon. The Gragas can initiate very well for KT. They can put the Shen on his back for an even larger initiation. And Victor could end up being fairly vulnerable.
Well, also, in case there are all of those all-ins, the Shen support able to come and help out now with the Darius Fiora duels in a lot better of a manner. We could see this teleport LeBlanc coming through, of course.
Yeah.
But the Orianna looking for the team fights.
I like the Orianna. I mean, when with the champions like Alistar, like Fiora, when everybody comes in. But actually Cassiopeia locked in for Nagne.
I actually like the pick here. I know it sounds weird, but this has been one of Nagne's best champions. In the last best of 5, KOO was very insistent on banning the Cassiopeia. It's been one of his best champions. And when we consider synergy with Gragas, Gragas is a champion that will give you a single target that you can really follow up on. Very high damage, and now there are actually 3 high damage sources on this team that can really carve people up.
And funnily enough, since that series they played in the playoffs, Victor has received nerfs, and Cassiopeia has remained untouched. So even though the game has changed around the Cassiopeia, it's still very viable in this head-to-head matchup. And Nagne, they make a big change, but they go back to a pick.
You know, another benefit that champion brings too is, again, when the Fiora jumps in, when the Elise, when the Alistar get in your face, you just ult them. You just ult, you freeze them in place, you turn the team fight around. I think that's exactly what they're going to be looking for Nagne to do this game. A lot really rests on Nagne's Cassiopeia ults, and also someday up in that top lane.
Yeah, I think as a counter pick to the Fiora in the team fights, this should be really interesting because we have to ask ourselves, what was happening in these last games? A lot of it was Fiora getting on top of Arrow in that game 3.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be a hell of a lot harder with the Petrifying Gaze. Smeb is going to have to be very fast to turn his back.
I would agree. Well, perhaps one last time, guys, let us know who you think you're going to see in the semifinals. Hashtag KOO win if you think they're going to close it out right here, right now, or hashtag KT win at LOL Esports if you think KT Rolster can tie things up and force that game 5 as we move into Summoner's Rift to see if this game, game 4, will be our last game of the day. I still think it could go to distance. KT won game 1 with this Darius pick. Can they do it again when it matters most?
Well, specifically the changes KT has made to their team composition. This composition is better suited for the way KOO Tigers is winning.
True.
Nagne showing some of his flexibility. That is now the 25th unique mid lane champion we've seen at Worlds.
Holy cow.
Wow. So many unique champions at Worlds this year. And we're only in the quarterfinals now.
If you want to be a mid laner, learn 25 specific new champions to have the full pool. Unreal.
Wow. It's like learning to play Tekken suddenly. Like a billion different characters.
So all-time, 10 games for Nagne on Cassiopeia. He is 7-3.
Respectable.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's been a good Cassiopeia player, and Peekaboo tries to go in for the taunt on the prey, takes a little bit of damage in response, but they're doing a good amount to Gorilla as well. Gorilla just dropping a ward on his way out. And KT going for a bit of a late invade into the jungle. We'll see what they decide to do. Just a ward over the wall into the red buff pit to keep an eye on where Hojin might be going.
And they will just back right out after that. So is that one ward over in red? So we'll see if this affects the decision from the KOO Tigers as to where they're going to be pathing early. Looks like they are feinting up towards the top side, and we are going to be heading for standard lanes once again.
Yeah, now Nagne was originally known as an assassin player in that mid lane. Did have a little bit of trouble adapting to more of the control mage types, but over the course of 2015 especially, I feel like we've seen Nagne really come into his own as a more well-rounded mid laner.
Yeah, absolutely. And he, champion pool really hasn't been an issue for these guys this year, especially since assassins, generally speaking, this year haven't been as popular.
Did you see Prey throw that Peacemaker over the wall there? He must have a timing for when the Gromp normally goes down and try to steal it, but was not being done by KT this time. And he's going to miss on a little bit of XP because of it. Kind of a cool idea, though.
Nice thought. A lot of times you'll see the support going in to try and harass. Why not send the AD carry for an attempted steal? Caitlyn would be a champion who'd be able to do that, but...
Yeah, you can do it without too much danger if you do it from like way back there with the tilt-over Peacemaker. Oh, taunt on a Prey.
Really not a favorable trade.
Yeah, a little bit over-aggressive for Peekaboo.
Yeah, he taunted into 5 minions there.
Yeah. Does not help.
Okay, you can just throw swords to make it up. When Noah and I cosplayed as Shen, we realized how difficult it is to actually unsheath Shen's swords from that.
Nearly impossible.
You actually can't do that.
You need like really a triple-jointed arm. Yeah, you need like an extra elbow to do what Shen does.
I mean, you'd really have to be a ninja in order to do that.
I don't know, do ninjas have 2 elbows on each arm?
It's actually a prerequisite.
Is it?
Yeah.
No wonder you don't see him very often anymore. Who knew? Well, Smeb could be in a bit of trouble here. Might have to burn that flash.
The flash body slam.
Okay, there we go. And he did. Threatened enough that Smeb used that summoner to get away.
All right, but Hojin may have another angle into the enemy jungle as a result of that.
Definitely. Going to go right over and take that blue buff.
Yeah, this is definitely going to come. The level 2 gank is going to come with a price here. Hojin on top of that blue. And because, so KT had a ward at that red buff, so they knew what side of the jungle KOO started on, so they consciously made this decision. They knew that Hojin should be over on that side of the map at that given time, so this is actually a pretty high price to pay. Hojin coming ahead in the jungle.
And now, depending on how greedy Hojin wants to be, he can push score off of his wolves as well if he waits.
Tons of pings going down.
Yeah, smart by score there to use his smite on the Wolf so he can get the scouting. Otherwise, that would have been Hojin coming in towards the back end of that camp.
Yeah, meanwhile, they're going to try to make a play on the Nagne here in the mid lane, but Nagne already playing to the safer side of the lane. He can get back to his turret or his jungle if he needs to. And so KOO is going to quickly give that one up.
They're really going to be waiting for the scaling here. Of course, you are going to get that tier, the goddess on Cassiopeia, so your power early, not going to be too aggressive. Nice trade.
Yeah, no kidding. Prey taunted, and the Flame Chopper's thrown down by Arrow immediately to set up that longer CC chain. Pretty good.
TP already used by Someday in the top side. Coming through, and we'll see something similar from Smeb as he recalls with that wave very close to his turret. Was hoping for perhaps a little bit of a freeze there, and he may get it as he TP's right back in.
Smeb doing his best to survive in this lane. Darius definitely having some of the early advantages. There's the gank.
Pulverize onto Peekaboo, and Peekaboo is going to flash and get shoved the wrong direction. Not bad at all. Peekaboo escapes.
I also want to call that really unlucky from Gorilla. When he flash pulverized, Peekaboo was on the very edge of the brush. So when he went to headbutt him backwards, he lost vision, and that allowed Peekaboo to then flash afterwards. So that's just the nature of the game sometimes.
Well, flash for flash. I mean, they did burn that exhaust as well during that engage. So all in all, it was 1 for 2 in favor of KOO Tigers. And getting a lot of damage onto the turret, too.
They are backed up right now. This Caitlyn matchup going much better this time around for Prey so far. Nice job denying some of the CS and getting some traps down right next to the turret, making it even harder to pick up the farm.
Pretty much. Hojin just farming for the moment anyway.
I don't know when Nagne's recall timing is going to be. Remember that he does have the teleport, so he can come back to lane. He definitely has enough money for the tier at the moment, but isn't going to start stacking it up just yet.
Yeah, wants to push Kuro in a little bit more, it looks like.
Yeah, this is a really good job early by Nagne. Honestly, I feel like Cassiopeia has a bit of ramp-up time, but he's been able to push Kuro in very successfully. This is why KOO Tigers were so scared of the Cassiopeia in the playoffs in the LCK.
I don't think they expected it to come out against it. I know I certainly didn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were even talking about it. It's just not a champion that we see in the meta very often these days, or really at all. So KT and Nagne kind of going back to an old standard when they really need to keep themselves alive at Worlds.
You see how conservative Someday's playing right now. He doesn't want to get ganked. He understands that Nagne really wants to press the advantage in the mid lane and is already pushing forward on the map, and so doesn't want to open up any kind of opportunities for KOO while the jungler is in the bottom side.
Well, the stats pretty similar for these two top laners between Smeb's Fiora and Someday's Darius.
Been a pretty reliable pick.
Yep. Uh-oh. Oh boy.
Prey. Danger down here.
Yeah, teleport coming down just to confirm it. Prey on top of those flame choppers. Yet again, gonna flash away. Turret hits doing a lot of damage to Peekaboo. Peekaboo nearly goes down. First blood goes to Peekaboo. And he makes it out. He must have had like 10 health there. Oh, revenge from the bloodthirsty support. Gorilla wants a kill too. Trying to take down Peekaboo, but can Peekaboo get that taunt off before Gorilla catches him?
Victor's on the way too.
That's right, the mid laner's calming down, and KOO Tigers trying to collapse down here in bot lane. Kuro doing a lot of damage to Nagne. Flame Chompers are dodged. Nagne in a lot of trouble, has no summoners, and he's gonna get taken out. Kill goes to Kuro. 1 for 1 in the end, but that's a kill on the mid laner for KOO, which makes it a bit better than Peekaboo taking that first blood.
Yeah, Peekaboo only got out with a sliver of health too. That was an overly aggressive dive that I think was appropriately punished by the KOO Tigers. Prey had his flash, and Nagne did not teleport in a position in which he could combo after the flash. He ends up burning 4 summoner spells just to get that initial kill, and it's ridiculous KT didn't get punished harder for that.
Yeah, and also just trying to start that play. Arrow had not been back to shop yet, so assuming you're going to burn somebody down with just a Doran's blade, and we also look at the buy from Nagne before the TP. Tier and Negatron Cloak? That's not a smart dive to make. You are not itemized to do that efficiently.
Yeah, well, Someday pulls Smeb in. That apprehend. Can't quite catch him at the Q, though. Close call for Smeb. And Nagne back to lane. Still not a ton of damage. Oh, there we go. A dive onto Someday. Smeb pops that ultimate score there to try to protect his top laner.
Can they turn it?
Smeb in a bit of trouble. They can. Someday with the kill there. Still low health. Nice explosive cast from Score. Hojin sent running, and he's going to get taken out by KT.
And
That's 2 kills.
This
KT.
isn't the first time we've seen Someday get an edge in the top lane. The question will be whether he can play smart enough to hold this one. This time, though, it was Hojin who flashed in for the initiation, and they didn't have the burst to take down Someday, allowing Score to come in for a nice counter gank. Look at the CS discrepancy even before anything else in that fight. Again, Score has outpassed Hojin in the early jungle, and when he found the 2v2, had the superiority.
Yeah, and especially because he had that ult by the time the fight began, too. So really doing a nice job. You see Hojin right here. They think they caught him out. Flash to KOO, and immediately there's the grand challenge coming down. Someday going to path back to Score. And then Smeb out of mana, too. Yeah, there's a heal coming through, and Score just keeps Hojin off from getting the return kill with that ultimate hitting 6.
Smeb was pretty low from the initial trading in that lane, so that makes that a much riskier ult than you would first assume if you can stun the Darius from the Fog of War.
And here's here's something to really watch too. When KOO Tigers get rattled, Hojin starts to over-prioritize ganking in top lane. That could have been the start of that. We're going to have to really watch that closely to see if there's starting to be a bit of a mental breakdown for the KOO Tigers already in Game 4.
I don't think they were that worried, especially because they did do such a good job of turning around the teleport gank in the bottom side.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Nice
Popped on to Prey. Yeah, Prey stuck in place for a long time. Peekaboo taking a bit of damage himself too. Ends up being a decent trade for KT. Those AoE rockets doing a lot of damage to the bot lane from KOO.
Yeah, they had to back off though. Gorilla was 6, so had that unbreakable will. Should they follow up? Peekaboo still only level 5 and not really going to be as useful in terms of ultimates in a 2v2 fight.
Yeah.
So nice. They got a good trade. Just take it, walk away.
I'm actually very surprised Peekaboo's been able to land so many taunts onto Prey. 650 range, 80 carry with a 90 caliber net that can get him out of range. Mid-gen taunt cast,
isn't it?
especially with the danger of the chain CC from the Flame Chompers. That should be one of Prey's top priorities, is to not get taunted by the Shen.
It's a bit odd.
But Peekaboo's positioned well and used the Fog of War, and Prey has not wanted to net away defensively.
Oh, Peekaboo able to protect his pink ward for the moment. Keeping Gorilla from taking that one out, but now the lane is going to get pushed in KOO's favor. At least it was for the second anyway there.
It is so weird to see a series between 2 Korean teams where support Shen has become such a priority pick. This has never happened before.
We have not seen support Shen in Korea this year until Worlds. We didn't see it in Korea at all. Only here.
Welcome to Worlds.
I guess. Well,
KT is in a really, really strong position this game. Anagne, despite the poor teleport bottom lane, is farming up well, stacking his tier, not getting punished. Hojin yet to complete his jungle item, whereas Score's been sitting on Cinderhawk for quite some time. And Arrow's Jinx is farming up completely fine against Caitlyn. Pretty much everything KT needed to go right in the early game has gone right.
And Someday, too, what a difference in his play this game. After he got those kills, you could see he called Score up just to protect him in the lane for a counter gank in case he was ganked. As soon as he backs off, they push the wave into the turret. Someday walks into the river to ward. So they are taking many more precautions at conserving their top lane advantage in this game compared to the last couple.
very true. KT with the pressure on the bot lane now. Hojin's there to try to help out. He is recalling at the moment, though. CS fairly even in mid between KOO and Nagne at the moment.
KOO's actually done a nice job catching up. He was pretty far behind there for a while.
He has.
And he has rebounded in that lane, but Someday still a bit of a problem, of course, finishing that phage early, so he does have that item advantage, and he's starting to run away with it in terms of farm as well.
Well, here comes Score. They're going to try to take away the blue buff, and it doesn't look like KOO is in a position to stop them at this point. We'll see. He may just want to dive up and top here. Someday, Smeb trying to bait him in, but Someday not quite going under turret yet.
I like Smeb using his riposte so early to block the decimate, so it's never even a threat to get 5 stack for the ultimate. Also, Score doesn't realize he was spotted by a ward while going for deep wards. Gonna have to be very careful here, since Gorilla did recall and head up that way to begin with.
Well, Nagne's gone. He does have TP if he wants to go for it. Hojin just going to go ahead and ward this up. Find that Score is already there.
Coming in, and oh, who got it? Hojin. Able to take it for KOO. Didn't get on the mid laner, but at least they kept it away from KT.
I mean, that execute damage in spider form, you do just have a nice amount of burst there for Elise.
Yep. It's something anyway. Ooh, Ace in the hole already doing a decent amount of damage with that BF sword for Prey.
I like the early ace in the hole just for harassing lane from Caitlyn.
Yeah, why not?
Especially when the support is gone, they have to wait so the Peekaboo can't block it. But that was...
It's a low cooldown, it does a lot of damage, and when your team is trying to push things up to take control around Dragon, you might as well use it.
Nice job by KOO on the vision clear there. Very safe, considering they had the pink ward there, and they waited for 3 people before they cleared out enemy pink up towards that side, so they weren't going to get surprised by anything.
Yeah.
We're more likely to see the 3-lane push here from KT than we ever have been. Already an upgraded warding trinket by Nagne.
Oh boy, Gorilla's going to take a lot of damage. He may have to burn that ult. He does. And that's a pretty crucial ult to not have available when you're going in for Dragon. Never mind.
Here we go. Every teleport.
May have an opportunity as teleports come in. KT scaring KOO away. Hojin taken out. And KT continues to pull a little bit farther ahead every time these two teams crash into each other here in Game 4.
So Someday actually ended up canceling this teleport. KOO still has his with that. But yeah, Hojin getting punished there for the squishy Runeclave Elise.
Well, Someday able to get that top lane turret too by canceling the teleport, so they still certainly got a lot of value out of that.
Yeah, there's not really a way to. KOO can go ahead and do this Dragon at this juncture either, of course, with the jungler down, but KT falls back to safety, just going to keep on split pushing, and they have so many wards in that bottom side river right now. Oh boy,
Prey taunted right after the explosive cast. Beautiful play by KT Rolster. Smeb on the run, turns around with her pop. Gorilla with the engage. Can KOO do enough damage to turn this one around? He's going to throw the Chaos Storm down on the score, but with Nagne entering the fight, flash ult, he's going to get the slow on Gorilla and Smeb. KOO still trying to get something done for KOO. He'll get 1 kill as Peekaboo gets a bit too close. Arrow grabs one in response, though.
Peekaboo did not need to come back into that
KOO's
fight.
not done yet. Nagne playing it dangerously. Oh, where is he? Another kill for KT and Nagne.
I think that was a home run attempt for KOO right
Yeah,
there.
he
Because
tried.
they're losing so much off of that fight. KT was supposed to be on the offensive, but Score's Gragas ultimate turned it into an offensive play because Someday, this whole time, is in a pressure position, which meant that KOO needed to press their advantage bottom lane. KOO lost absolutely everywhere, and they lost harder because KOO tried to make up for it at the end of that last fight.
And because Smeb was in the bottom side, now he is down. We see just 100 about to 50 or 155 CS. So taking that, I mean, Smeb gets forward here. What a great ultimate, though, from Score. And then the chain right into the traps and the taunt.
Oh, man. Arrow getting excited on that Jinx. Gorilla with a nice counter engage to let KOO come in and do something at least.
Yeah, big problem, too, was that death ray was very poor by KOO, not actually hitting anybody. If he had been able to land his full combo, that may have gone the other way.
Yeah, unfortunately, Peekaboo flies in at the end, gets bopped by KOO. Then the very end of this fight is quite interesting because KOO's got blue buff and level 11, so he's quite strong. Lands a death ray onto both, which gets him greedy, but that's the thing about Victor. You have 2 spells and then you wait on long cooldowns.
Yeah.
After he landed those spells, he should have known that he can't finish them with auto attacks and just stayed by the wayside in safety.
You're not going to do well against a Cassiopeia that has that consistent damage output as well as the enemy AD carry. A little bit too brave for KOO there, and that's going to allow KT as well a pretty comfortable blue buff and pretty comfortable lead. 6,000 gold in 17 minutes. Pretty massive lead, actually, when you look at it.
Looking early like we're going to be getting that game 5.
Oh, boy.
Could be.
I love Game 5s, chat.
It's not blind bidding. Still Game 5.
KOO's going to be super happy about that. In the Game 5 blind pick they played over in the LCK,
true.
they played against Ashe, Leona,
It's a very
and
different
Elise
type of strategy. Right?
without bringing Cleanse because they didn't know they were going to be facing up against that level of chain CC.
Yeah.
KOO also, I feel like they've won picks and bans in 3 out of the 4 games so far. This one, KT had a nice curveball with the
nice.
Cassio.
Oh, what an engage by Score to throw Gorilla and Prey back into the enemy team. Gorilla pops that ultimate, so tanky. It's going to run out, though, and so is his life. Arrow with another kill.
And
Manages to
somehow,
save Prey, and
Someday is dead in the top side. Looks like Hojin and Smeb teaming up for a kill onto the KT top laner. Looks like we will see a turret trade and everything is said and done. Prey recalling right now, but will just stay back to defend the turret.
Yeah, KOO should be able to get this top lane turret before too long.
All things considered, that's actually a very good trade for the KOO Tigers, being down 7,000 gold, being able to trade a gank kill plus turret push. It'll stay good as long as they can defend this inner turret, which it looks like they'll be able to.
Yeah, and just like that, they've cut the 6,000 deficit down to 4,000.
Now, the big question is, how big is this Cassiopeia going to get, though?
Yeah.
Because you have a 7,000 gold lead right now, 6,000 now. And the Cassiopeia is only going to get stronger, so someday decides to dribble his way into a
Ultimate. So he hides
Oh,
into
nice
the wall,
positioning.
so
Oh, wow.
he can't get it off.
Hiding your vitals, always a smart thing to do
At
against
the
Fiora.
same time, he hit his vitals, and then Hojin had no problems landing the skill shots on the
I guess
stationary
so.
areas.
Well, Someday was just a hair's breadth away from using his ultimate right there, too. He dived with his ult still up. If he hadn't gotten cocooned at that precise moment, so good timing from Hojin. Turned that battle around, but
Yep.
I love these duels. I love
Me
Fiora versus Darius. It's just absolutely hilarious.
Definitely is.
Yeah, to answer your previous question about how big will Cassiopeia get, though, I feel like Nagne is going to get pretty gargantuan. He's already about 80 mana away from max stacking his Archangel Staff and transforming it into a Seraph's Embrace. I think that's what makes Cassiopeia so dangerous, especially in a matchup against Victor.
Oh, taunt on the Gorilla. Peekaboo being
that's
a
a lot of
bit
damage.
brave, though. Yeah, there's a headbutt. Peekaboo could be in a bit of trouble. Teleport's coming in for both sides. Canceled, though, for KT as Peekaboo runs away. And ace in the hole, not enough to finish him off. But here comes Smeb. Grand challenge on to Score. Score's going to try to get away from that blue buff pit. Gorilla comes in to the engage. Score's still in trouble. There's the kill. There's the heal. And Kuro now with a clear line for the damage on the arrow. Can he do a little bit more? And the auto attack gives Kuro the double kill. Someday a bit late to the party. And I think time's out for him. He's going to try to... Oh, no! The gravity field. Triple kill for Kuro. Oh, man.
I love how Gravity Field freezes animations for the most epic of interruptions. And
That was fantastic.
it's remarkable how KOO Tigers is coming back from this 6,000 pre-20-minute gold deficit, but it's almost classic KOO Tigers in that sense. Kuro on
is.
Victor is starting to take over this game, at least he is attempting to. Smeb was able to proc the appropriate amount of vitals, and KT just reached a little bit too far here.
Let's watch this one again. You know, Peekaboo has been making a lot of aggressive plays all game, and here's one that starts off a fight that does not go well for KT.
Well, here's the thing. With Score coming in, you see the TP start to fall. I think that KT expected this teleport that we're looking at from Smed to be canceled, because that's absolutely insane. But considering the cancel from the KT teleport, it was a 5v4 in the end. KOO with the nerves of steel, and you have to make plays like that if you want to get back in the game.
Yeah, and then Kuro obviously gets the healing from Smeb. Great gravity field placement around the bend, landing every single skill shot, weaving in his auto attacks. And at this point, Someday was cut off. He's basically just trying to make an escape, but Gorilla lands both of his skills really well, knock him back. That would have been a Kuro kill. Good night, Darius.
Insane. He's on fire, literally.
The ultimate rejection at the peak of his jump.
Rejected. Well,
Oh no.
someday you dunk, some days you get dunked.
Also, we'll have to get a replay because our replay missed a kill on to Score, which actually gives KOO the window to go and take this dragon.
Wow.
Which is shockingly going to be the first dragon of the game here at 22 minutes.
That has got to be one of the latest dragons we've seen here at Worlds, and KOO getting it. That's a nice big damage boost at this point in the game when people have some items. 6% makes a big difference. Exactly 6% of the difference, I suppose. When you think about it.
We stopped to analyze that one for just a second.
There you go. As I often do.
Yeah.
Let's watch Score die.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
He has just no control of his own jungle, and KOO is actually prepping the Baron. So a nice little bait there, knowing that they'd won the fight so substantially, going over to Baron, which necessitates a check. It's early on in the game, so they can't actually kill the Baron. Instead, they just bait the Baron, and that's just a smart strategic play. KOO knowing exactly where to gain their advantages from, even though they still hold a pretty big gold deficit. It goes to show how far behind they were.
Well, this is classic KOO Tigers, Jad. Get rocked in the early game, somehow, some way. Make it back in.
Pretty much.
6,000 plus gold at like 17 minutes. That should basically be it.
I guarantee you right now, KT does not feel like they're 3,000 gold ahead, though. Or 2,000 gold, how it is now.
Yeah, I got confirmation, too. That was the latest first dragon at Worlds.
Wow.
In the tournament to this point. So 22 minutes. Very delayed, but there's been a lot of fighting in this game. And emphasis on the towers. So KT I still think it comfortably has a scaling advantage here with this Cassiopeia. Of course, the Fed Victor going to cut into that just a little bit.
And how many times have we seen it with KOO winning and we say, well, the mistake is that they gave KOO Victor. Well, here we are again in KT fighting for their tournament life, and they gave KOO Victor. It's a dangerous thing to do against the KOO Tigers.
Yeah, Score does have his flash up, and KOO was down a flash. I think one of the biggest weaknesses of Victor is when people can get directly on top of him and displace him. Yeah. He is mobile, and he has good defenses when you're running at him, but if you successfully close the distance, he can be punished. And KOO is in the danger right now where they have such a high concentration of their gold onto a flashless mage right now, and that is their weak point. Or their vital spot, you could say.
KT may try to take advantage of Someday coming up the river right now. Looks like he's going to be too late to catch KOO. They've already taken down the turret. So KOO Tigers safe for the moment anyway.
Yeah, but Smeb sacrificing a lot of farm for this, and he's falling further and further and further behind, 164 to 237. Wow. The farm at the moment, but they're able to get a little bit of global gold onto him before sending him into that bottom side. Someday... No, he does have a tendency to take over games like this as a player.
And I think it's very critical for the Fiora to not fall behind, because the team fighting of the Fiora, I think, is much weaker than the team fighting of a Darius when they're even or when Darius is ahead on gold. It's not the same in the other way. All 3 games that Smeb has played so far in Fiora, he's gotten that advantage in the split push, and it's been very key to KOO finding the victories, because he either burns a key summoner during the split push before the team fight or flanks around while they're already ahead. This time Sunday has been able to equalize that and actually get an edge.
Yeah, he's about 1,300 gold ahead at the moment too, which is quite substantial. And when we're talking about this specific team composition from KT, they have so many executes, Darius ult, Jinx ult, but it's the damage over time and the AoE damage from Jinx and Cassiopeia that are setups for a possible Darius pentakill here that is very, very dangerous.
You can tell that KOO knows this. You can tell they're aware of it. They sent Smeb down to the bot lane to get a little bit of farm by himself, try to catch up a little bit of that CS deficit. So we'll see if he can. He's got his teleport, so he can join his team if he needs to.
I also have to point out that Someday built the Quicksilver Sash. We've been talking about how good Smeb has been at proccing all those vitals, which does 40% true damage if you proc all 4 of them at this point of the game. But he can just QSS when Fiora ults on him and get rid of that threat.
Yeah, very true. And also QSS out of a very embarrassing gravity field once in a while. may want to save him for that one.
No more stylish poses.
No. Okay. It was very cool. Whoa. Peekaboo blocks the damage that was destined for Arrow with that ace in the hole. An intense moment in the game. It's really a situation where it could go either way. 1:30 till the next dragon. The second dragon in the game, even though we're about 27 minutes in. Oh, Score getting collapsed on. Arrow's right there, though. KOO forced to flash away. Peekaboo comes in with that stand united. KOO gonna get taken out by the Jinx rocket. And now Someday trying to flee here. KT wants to get a fight. Smeb comes in. He's gonna ult Peekaboo and not be able to finish him off. It's a dangerous moment for KOO. Without KOO, they don't have a whole lot of damage.
Oh, they're still hunting, though. There's the QSS.
Worked. He got out of that Elise cocoon.
Yeah, really made a big difference.
Yeah,
sure
success.
Did. Wow, that item, worth it. Whoa, KT going for Baron right now with KOO out of commission. They're going to try a bit. If KOO can delay it, it's only 12 seconds until he comes back. Prey taunted Peekaboo. Get him, it's overly aggressive. There's a kill for Prey. Gorilla pops that ult, stays alive. Prey getting some nice angles for damage on the edge of this fight. Smeb is right there as well, too. KOO a bit. Oh, there they go. They caught Someday. No QSS. No more Darius, and KOO turns to fight around Nagne. Chaos Storm on top of him as he slithers to safety for the moment.
I don't think that Baron play is ever going to work for KT.
I don't think so either.
Teleport up and is up in 10 seconds. KT so close to taking control of this game once again, with Score making a nice catch on a KOO. I think Score has played fantastically this series, but KT just makes a team-wide mistake with that call to go for Baron.
Well, I think it's fine if you want to peel off of the Baron and try and finish up that fight, but KT just didn't do that. Peekaboo went in too early, got chunked out, had to flash out of that engagement, and there wasn't follow-up. So very poorly played here by KT. He got spotted by Prey. That was actually a very nice trinket.
Beautiful trinket by Prey. At that point, Peekaboo would need to run away because his team was still doing during the Baron. Smeb also has flank position right here, which makes the retreat even more difficult. And I love the headiness as well of KOO to buy home guards when he respawned because he knew he needed to close on this fight. Zooms ahead, gets the spells on Inagne and completely pushes him out of the fight.
Arrow nearly died to Prey's ultimate that fight too. Now KOO able to take an easy second dragon. And just like that, gold lead for KOO Tigers after being down 6K. Man, these teams are so close every single game, back and forth. But in Game 4, the game that could send the KOO Tigers to the semifinals, they've taken the lead once again.
I think that was just a huge error from KT. They knew Kuro's teleport was up and available. And the death timers, I mean, we're still sub 30 minutes into this game, so they're not going to be so long yet. And KOO has somehow managed to find a 2-level lead on Nagne here, despite having approximately even CS.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been winning fight after fight, and KOO's just consistently been able to clear minion waves. Not to mention he got slingshot a little bit because KT was ahead on experience and gold, so because he was the lower experience member, he gained more experience for the kills, and KT honestly just hasn't killed them back since there's been no turning back since this game started to reverse.
You know, now Smeb is down a lot on CS, but he's got enough items that he is relevant. And look at this, 2 turrets, just like that, already with this Baron buff from the KOO Tigers. And Smeb trying to make a play on a Someday here. This is brave. Gorilla can't protect him with Arrow auto-attacking from over the wall, and Smeb has to back away. Oh, Smeb
blocks
the ultimate.
It is just not Sunday's day.
No, it is not. And now the inhibitor in a lot of trouble. KOO Tigers have broke open the door of KT's base.
Yeah, this is really an amazing comeback by KOO Tigers in this game.
He reposted that ultimate. That was awesome.
I mean, I've been so impressed. Smeb looked a bit shaky in Game 1, but ever since then on this Fiora, it's been really quite impressive.
Yeah, KT needs to make a play right now if they want to save this inhibitor, if they want to save their game. I don't know if they can, though. That cannon minion's doing damage. Someday gets jumped on.
Oh,
they're trying to make a play there. Chaos Storm not doing enough. They get the inhibitor. They get Peekaboo, and they can just back away. No need to put any more pressure on. They got what they came for and more.
This could be KOO moving on to the semifinals. If this happened, it would actually be one team from every group moving on to the semifinals.
Wow. Well, that's great. And coming into this, you know, a lot of people, myself included, were predicting KT. It's not over yet, but KOO bringing some stuff we were not expecting. Let's watch that fight again. Smeb.
Well, they basically just make a decision right here. And Smeb, there's the riposte. Oh, and they wanted to make a play. They send their damage dealers over to that side to try and get a pick and then move the game forward from there. But instead, they just end up losing their inhibitor turret.
Yeah. Look at the gold differences all the way until roughly about the 28-minute mark in favor of KT, and then KOO bringing it right back again.
Yeah, and it's made worse by the fact that KT actually had and has a pretty good scaling team composition. If Nagne can get in the right positions on Cassiopeia, Score can catch the squishy targets out of position, and Arrow can shoot from the back line. Even if the gold is like this around 32 minutes, KT is by no means out of it, but they just feel really disorganized at this point of the game. KOO Tigers has so much momentum, and I feel like their mentality is stronger. They're making the proper calls, and I've seen a lot of really poor decisions from Peekaboo and the rest of KT in the last 15 minutes.
Well, when KOO Tigers group is 5, we found it's really hard to stop these guys, and KT could still definitely turn this game around. But they've got to get some confidence back. After those last couple fights, anybody would be feeling not that great.
And it goes to show the swinginess of this game. Your normal Baron power play gives about 3,000 gold, 6,448 from that last one.
Yep. Smeb split pushing here with those super minions in the bot lane as KOO Tigers move towards the inhibitor turret up top.
Score has his flash right now. You would hope that he tries to pull the trigger on a body slam flash, but they need to clear these super minions away from their Nexus turret first. Darius doesn't actually do it that quickly.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to lose the Nexus turret. They do.
Great pressure that they wanted just to have Peekaboo in that bottom side trying to run interference, but Smeb goes down there in the 4-1 split, working wonders once again for KOO.
So KOO's going to back away. A minute 40 until that next dragon comes back. They're going to find Prey, though. Uh-oh. Could be an opportunity, but nope. Prey able to net his way to safety. I'd call that a net win for the KOO Tigers. Don't worry, I'm going back to 3 after today.
Gotta shove the bad jokes in
get
there
on
while
the
you
plane
can.
as fast as I can. I gotta get out of here. Yep. Oh, Score finds some KOO Tigers players. KOO trying to find time to recall and buy some items. They're able to do it. Minute until the next dragon.
Look at the vision control right now from the KOO Tigers. It is just so complete around that Baron. They have absolute information about what is happening in the enemy jungle, and that's going to be very useful when some of these objectives start to pop in about a minute. They should be very comfortable in KOO, looking like it'll be a pretty easy closure to this game, barring some sort of catastrophic team fight that KT can engineer.
Yeah, especially Nagne yet to hit his death cap. Because of the way Cassiopeia works as well, he's been slowly stacking up the aspect of the Serpent. He's at 420 stacks. At 500, of course, he gets a bonus 40% of ability power.
It's a lot.
And then the death cap would make it so much. So he would go from about 500 to 1,000 AP if this game does stretch to 40 minutes. So there actually is still some stalling KT can do if they stop the relentlessness of the KOO Tigers so far.
Well, they definitely know that. Who knows it too? It's still a very tense game between these two teams. That 5K gold lead at this point in the game doesn't mean a whole lot. Who's going to get this next Baron, though? This next Baron fight is going to, I would say, almost certainly decide the winner of the game. The Dragon's going to KT, or to KOO, rather.
And the Baron is really not coming at the right time for KT Rolster. They're already down a Nexus turret, and their inhibitor is yet to respawn. They can't commit people down to that Baron area, and I don't even know if they want to, because a 5-on-5 fight at this point, before Cassiopeia hits that late-game form, is not very ideal. This actually is a Baron you might need to give up 100%.
I mean, and if you do that, you kind of wonder if you can stop the KOO Tigers.
Well, the nice thing KT has going for them is great kiting potential. So they're not really going to be able to be dove with Cassiopeia and Shen at some of these turrets. So maybe that would be the way to discourage a game from ending. But again, you have the Victor Gravity Field and the Caitlyn to siege. So it still would be hard. This is a very, very tough decision for KT to make.
There's a very high percentage win here for the KOO Tigers based on the current circumstances. It'll really be down to their execution, in my opinion, because even if they want to dive turrets, they have Rolster, one of the best champions for such situations, getting the flat damage reduction. Yeah. The longer KT can stall, though, the better it is for them. Death cap was completed by Nagne, and their inhibitor has respawned.
Just came back.
That's great timing for them, really. They managed to prevent the instant Baron take. We do see Someday fading back into
it's a trap.
This Nexus fountain.
It's a trap. And are they going to catch Score here? Maybe. Ace in the hole comes in. They get him with the cocoon. Score could be going down, tries to make it out. Looks like he'll barely live.
They used a lot on that, though. They're going to go on to the Baron immediately.
Wow, okay, with Score so low, they think they're safe to take it. Gorilla in the back lines hasn't used his ultimate yet, so that Alistar is still very tanky. KT, this is their season. This is their year on the line, and the KOO Tigers get the Baron. KOO backing away. Someday trying to make a play with Darius, trying to get the resets. He can't. Prey with the kill, and with Someday out of the way, KT's worlds may be over.
That was such a well-executed Baron by the KOO Tigers. They had the wards around when as soon as they saw Score, immediately dumped the damage on him so he would have a very hard time actually contesting that Baron, and then kept the pressure on Gorilla on the outside, never letting him even get a chance for a steal, and forcing the...
Smeb onto Peekaboo, a lot of damage done there. He's going to use the ultimate even through the exhaust. Gorilla comes in to try to support his top laner. Score takes a dirt nap, and Kuro takes a lot of damage, but they're going to send Nagne back towards the base as well as they take out another inhibitor. KOO low health, but they are taking apart KT's base, going for another one. I think it might be time to go back after this. We'll see if they decide they can end it.
See Smeb right there, mouth moving. He is the main shot caller for the KOO Tigers. So they are just going to back off, take the Baron, take the two inhibitors that they managed to get. But KT stays alive for just a little bit longer.
Man, I mean, it is about as close as it can possibly get with the picks that KOO have been making here.
Yeah, KOO, just a continuous play of success right there, I'd have to say. Peekaboo making a lot of unfortunate mistakes. I feel like the taunt at the very beginning of that Baron fight on an Alistar where he extended his flash Would have been wondrous if he could have joined someday in that fight on the inside. And then as far as the double inhib taking, that's about as best the KT could have hoped for. It's lucky that the game actually isn't over. If Arrow dies, though, I think the game is over.
Smeb trying to find him. Gorilla's right there. Arrow taking a lot of damage. Gorilla comes in. Score trying to save his AD carry. Pushes Gorilla back into him, though. Turret doing damage to Alistar. Peekaboo gets the taunt. Gorilla could be in trouble. Has to use that ultimate to stay alive, but he can't. Arrow with a kill, and KT may have found an opportunity, but there are so many super minions coming into the base. Does KOO even need Gorilla to be alive right now?
Well, the minions aren't there quite yet, so KT wants to hold this a bit longer, but there it goes.
They're going in. They want to fight the 4v5. Smeb at about half health. This may be a bit too dangerous, but KOO, they see victory right in front of them. They see a dead inhibitor as well. That's all 3 inhibitors down now. KT in a bit of trouble. They're going to send Smeb to push up this bottom lane. Prey dueling with Someday. Gotta be careful there. I wouldn't want to duel with a Darius, especially at this point in the game. That Nexus turret getting a bit low as Score comes from the side. Peekaboo there as well. Score gets taken down. A kill for Kuro. And KOO, with that kill, may have done it. The Nexus is exposed. And in summer season, it was KT Rolster, but KOO with a chance at revenge in just 4 games this time. And there it is. KOO Tigers go to the semifinals.
Wow, coming second place out of their group, too, behind the Flash Wolves. Come in here and deliver a vintage KOO Tigers performance, playing from behind, showing the strength of their team fighting and shot calling, and these guys are elated.
KOO really stepped it up in this series. Smeb in particular, even when he was behind in lane, he had the strength in team fighting, the right pick potential. Kuro went back on the old picks and Victor. Prey had successful ultimates in these team fights and had good positioning. Really, it was a team effort, but on the back of Smeb.
You know, since the spring season, since what happened at IM Katowice, people have been asking, can the KOO Tigers perform on the international stage? I would say this is a resounding yes, as KOO Tigers are moving on to the semifinals. What a series.
Yeah, very nicely played. And we look at KT's bans in this series. Veigar, Kennen, Tahm Kench. These are bans that are now necessary against the KOO Tigers. We've seen what Gorilla can do on Tahm Kench. We know they can flex the Kennen very well. The Veigar has become a threat with their siege compositions. So KOO has such a wide array of strategies at their disposal right now. They've shown quite a bit.
Yeah, and despite, you know, the follies in the early game, still coming back with a strong late game. And KT Rolster, you know, this is not the end of the season that they wanted, of course, wanted to make it farther than the quarterfinals. A successful year. You know, it was a big season of turmoil in Korea with so many players going to China. KT had to kind of pick up the pieces when Peekaboo came in, turned this team around, got them to Worlds, and played well in the group stages. Thought it'd go a little bit farther, but still a respectable year for that organization.
Yeah, and I feel pretty bad for Score in this one because I think he played amazingly in pretty much all the early and mid games, but the team itself just didn't seem to quite click. KOO was playing some really smart League of Legends, which requires you to be completely cohesive in your shot calling towards the mid-late game, and that, along with the pick and bans, I think is where KT fell short.
Yeah, how about that? KOO Tigers, a team made up of players that were essentially rejected from other teams and players that had been formally retired, coming back. It's an interesting story to see. Prey especially took like a year off, and he's coming back, playing like this, going to the semifinals at Worlds. Amazing stuff.
His second World semifinals, in fact, after being on Najin Black Sword. It actually was, you know, a battle between Nagne and Prey, two of those old Najin Sword players that made the semis and lost to SKT in Season 3. But I want to talk about Smeb. This guy has been absolutely amazing. To talk about his development as a player, sure, the exodus happens. A lot of these players leave. He was on Incredible Miracle, looking very poor at times. Yeah. But my God, has he gotten better and really, really improved this year.
Yeah.
It's crazy, like Smeb, because in 2014, you never would have called this guy a strong top laner. He was far from it, but pretty strong in 2015.
Yeah, and it's been almost an up and down season too, because the spring for KOO Tigers was kind of the split of Smeb, and then they did slump at the beginning of summer, but he seems to be back on form, and he's really, I think, the first one to fully display the power of Fiora.